All right. We are officially live here. Hello, everybody. Uh, we are live today to talk about the official 2025 UAL California State Rankings. And with us, we have, let's see, let me just mute this real quick. We are muted. Okay, so I'd like to introduce our guest that we have with us. First and foremost, we have the man, the myth, the legend. The Ultimate Arm Wrestling League president, Bill Collins, is with us. Pleasure to have you with us, Bill.
Thanks, buddy. I like that introduction. You ought to do that all the time.
Yeah, man. So we also have with us in the chat, he won't be joining us in the Zoom, is the UAL Ranking Committee Chairman, Rick Banas II, is going to be joining us here in the chat. We also have basically the North representative, Matt Silva, is with us. Yeah. And then we've got the Central representative, Mr. Jeff the Ripper Ray. And then myself, Kane Fontecchio, representing the South for our ranking committee. How's everyone doing this evening?
Doing good, buddy.
So yeah, this evening we're going to be talking a bit about the new UAL rankings, the criteria, which is something very different, is very new. A lot of care was put into it. We'll go over a little bit of the data, questions, and things like that. But first, I'd like to go ahead and turn this over to Mr. Bill Collins.
Thanks, Kane, and welcome everybody out there that took interest in signing in to look at what this committee has been doing, putting in countless hours to do something that's very thankless, self-pride for themselves, make sure that California has the best ranking system that they've seen so far. But before we dive into that, I just want to mention a couple of things that's pretty important. One of them is a massive, massive thank you to Corey Miller and his team. They have the most established database that we was able to pull information from. It's a proven database program that everybody sends their brackets in, and everything that we did is data-based. A big thank you to the people on this committee. Once again, it's such a thankless thing, almost like refereeing. You're the one that gets beat up because somebody think they got cheated out of something. So, Kane, Jeff, Matt, and Rick, huge thanks to you guys for putting in countless hours on this thing to make sure that California does the best ranking that we could achieve. Huge, huge special thanks to Heather John. She took the bull by the horns and helped the committee out with getting all this data. And we'd still be scrambling around if it wasn't for her. So Heather, if you're looking on, a huge thanks from the UAL and the UAL committee. It was pretty nice. One of the things that I wanted to mention that we thought about when we started looking at this ranking system was just wipe out the old one, start with a new one. Then we started to think about it's really not fair to the people that had made the list that was already established. It just wasn't database driven. So our whole thought process was let's go ahead and use the old list because the people that busted their ass to get on that list, it just wasn't fair to wipe them off and start new. And starting new, we would have had a fresh database from the California State Championship. So some of you that have asked, that's the reason why, because the guys that busted their ass to get on that list, we wanted to keep them on there and recognize them because you guys put in the hard work and effort to make it happen. Some of the challenges that we've been dealing with, it would be easy to manage the ranking if it was just one organization that we're dealing with, but we're dealing with every organization in California. So we're trying to get all that data from California organizations and put it into one ranking system, and it's quite challenging for the simple fact that a small percentage don't travel either direction. What I mean by that, the north don't travel south, south doesn't travel north. Now, it's not fair to say everybody. So it's a small percentage that crosses up. And what that does is there's going to be people ranked higher than you that you never pulled or you think you could beat, and it's only because we don't have a solid base for California until you guys meet on the table. And it's either going to be one of two ways. You either meet on the table or you're going to be doing super match challenges based off the criteria that we had set forth. Um, so when you guys see somebody on the ranking that may be higher than you, that you think you could beat, or you assume that you could beat, that doesn't mean a whole lot, because how we establish where that person places isn't necessarily that you beat them or you ever pulled them, rather than they may have beat somebody that beat you. So it's a pretty cool dynamic on what we're doing here, and that's how we're basing this thing off. The ranking system, so you guys know, is a very non-biased establishment that is data driven. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be the closest thing we got to accuracy based off of the data that was available for us. Now, if that data is not available for us, the committee is not going to go backwards and make the changes. So whatever event that you go to, it's key for these organizations to send their data or their brackets into errors, or send them to one of the committee members so we could update that list accordingly. And once again, if somebody is holding the information hostage, or if somebody doesn't want to share that information, don't be surprised that you might not see your name on that list, that somebody that you beat is on that list, because we just don't have that information. It's not going to be assumptions. It's going to be all data based. And that's what this committee is doing, is getting that information, putting it on the ranking to make sure we got the most accurate, clear accuracy that we have possible. Okay. With that in mind, we're going to turn it back over to Kane, and he's going to get in the criterias. And of course, if you got any questions, go ahead and hit them up and see if we can't get them answered for you. Oh, you can.
Right on. Very well said. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I second that for Heather, John. Super clutch and helpful, everything that you've done. And Jeff Ray too, man. You've done a ton for the data. I want to say hello to a few people in the chat here. We got Benjimac joining us, holding it down as a moderator. We got Joe Nelson. What's up, Joe? He says, yo, this will be fun. We got Mike Lindner in the house, one of the top guys in the 165, climbing his way for sure. Good to have you here. We've got Javier Martinez, another one of my teammates, in the house, super heavyweight beast. I want to congratulate Javier Martinez. He actually just cracked the list. He made it into the top 15. So really cool to see that. We've got another legend in the house today, Mr. Paul Stevens, one of my favorite people out there. Good to see you here. We've got Stephanie Spencer in the house. What's up, Stephanie Spencer? She is currently number 1 in the 155 plus category. We've got Anthony John in the house. Good to see you, brother. Another guy that cracked the list, right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, absolute beast, and one of my favorite people as well. We've got Shane. Is it Shane Rosas? Is that how I pronounce it? I think it is. Well, let me know if I'm saying your name wrong, Shane. But good to see you in here. He's a very talented up and comer in the 185 category. We've got Reflective Perspective in the house, and we've also got J Squared in the house. Good to see everybody here. So this ranking criteria, it's pretty different than a lot of the criterias that I think we're used to seeing out there. And I'll give a brief perspective on this. A lot of this criteria, specifically being that there's 2 portions of the criteria, the top 3 criteria, as well as the 4 through 15 ranks criteria. Those were separated in our criteria. the majority of the community, yeah, we all pretty much agreed, I think, on that fundamental, right? That California could use that. We were looking at two different dynamics that we were struggling with. One, we understand that one of the most accurate ways that you can see who is a better arm wrestler is through a super match, without the tournament or random bracket dynamic. The other thing that we noticed is even in just trying to create a top 15, we need more arm wrestlers. We need more people competing. This state is still growing with this sport. And so we need to have that ability for the cream to rise to the top, so to speak. So it would be very difficult to do a super match only criteria for ranking. It would be very slow moving, especially depending on how it's run. We need to give people the ability to move, and we want everybody to compete, and we want to see those amateurs that are ready to move into the open class compete and get on those rankings as well. So, that said, just to give a little explanation, let me pull up the criteria here. Do you guys want me to put it on the screen or just discuss it? What do you think?
Yeah, that'll work how we had it. Nice
Yes,
and big. Yeah.
share it. Okay.
Yeah. And while you're doing that too, I just wanted to also shout out for all the help with the brackets and trying to get or the rankings, trying to get everything in organized. Corey Miller was a very, very big help. The air system that really couldn't have been done without them.
Definitely. Corey's the man. Yeah, I really like that guy. He was extremely helpful with North versus South. He's always very helpful. So here we go. This is basically the introduction of the criteria. You could say this first part is somewhat of a mission statement, so to speak. The rankings criteria prioritizes two main fundamentals. One is to establish a more stringent criteria to the top three in every weight class that offers accuracy and prestige. So with your typical tournament and include some super matches into a ranking criteria, especially with how we're still trying to grow as a community, it can really kind of water down the top three. Just too much movement, too much possibility for that top three to fluctuate through something like a random bracket. So that was one priority that we had to deal with. The other is to create a fair system for ranks 4 through 15 that prioritizes ranking movement and acts as a preliminary criteria to work towards the top three. So that's kind of what we're looking at. We're trying to look at the ranks 4 through 15. It's still something prestigious. You earned it. But it's through a very particular criteria that does include tournament placings, super match placings, and the ability to have a lot more movement and hopefully work your way into the top three. So the weight classes for this criteria, the men, we have 0 to 145, which is a new class for California. And I do want to note one thing. When we decided to go with a top 15 in every class for this new criteria, it really kind of blew me away that the 0 through 145 class ended up being the biggest. It was very easy to fill that class. So that's really, really cool to see. And for me, I just kind of have this personal perspective in which the more we have your typical working class, or just lighter weight people, all the way down to youth and women, the more the sport can grow, versus being this kind of polarizing perception of like everyone has to be these 250-pound to 350-pound beasts. So I'm really liking to see that and all the participation there. So we also have our 146 to 165. We got the 166 to 185, the 186 to 205, 206 to 232, and then our super heavyweights at 233 plus. The women's classes, there are now three weight classes, which is really, really cool. We've got the 0 to 125, we've got the 126 to 154, and then the super heavyweights would be the 155 plus. And any women out there, you know, we need more of you competing so we can start filling out those rankings. All California tournaments and super matches count to the listed ranking criteria. So basically any California tournaments or super matches that happen in the state, we're going to count it to that within the criteria specifications between the top 3 and the 4 through 15 criterias. You must be a California resident to be ranked. That means you must receive mail in California and or reside in California 51% or more of the year. That's the best way I thought that we could articulate that, right? Athletes can only be ranked in one weight class. To switch weight classes requires you to forfeit your previous weight class rank. So that's been a big one. So we as we're kind of going through this establishment phase, as Bill was saying earlier, everyone needs to be very aware of what weight they're looking to compete at for 2025. There's a few people that are switching weights. They're looking to go up a weight class. Some are looking to go down a weight class. And some of those people, they're looking to do this outside. Well, what they're looking to move to is not where they're currently ranked. So yeah, if you guys are all in agreement, the way I'm looking at it is so for example, Patty Croker, she is Travis Dinsmore's wife. She will be having a super match soon with Malia at 125. She is currently ranked, I believe, in the 140 or 154s. But she's much closer to 125. So she's looking to drop down and make her first debut competition at 125. That happens, and depending on the results or whatever, she can be shifted over. But you guys got to work with us. You got to communicate with the committee and let us know, look, I'm going to go ahead and switch from this weight class to this weight class. That's also going to mean you're going to forfeit whatever ranking you might already be in. Okay. Yeah, that brings us right into the top 3 ranking criteria. This is for men and women. Item 1 is rankings 1 through 3 can only fluctuate rank through California super matches. Tournaments will not count for the top 3 ranked pollers ranking. So, what do you guys think about that?
You're talking with committee members?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the chat here and see if there's any thoughts that they have or questions, but I know we were all in agreement with this for the top 3. What is your perception on the top 3 that we need to have a super match to see a ranking fluctuation take place for their rank to be challenged?
It is the most accurate, first of all, and I think especially in California, you know, we have 40 million people here. So that's a lot of people. That's a huge chunk of the whole nation. And if you're top 3 in this state, you're pretty badass. And we really need to make sure that that's extremely accurate. And super match is really the best way to do that. And also, due to accuracy, the protection from tournaments as well. You know, that's not accurate, especially if they had a war and all these things, and you know, people maybe there was an injury during that, and then they lose their rank to someone that's far below. It's just not accurate, and so for the top 3, it's definitely important to make sure that's a super match oriented for accuracy.
Okay, yeah, definitely well said. Any thoughts on that, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's really beneficial for the guys that have worked so hard to get up to that spot. I think it does open them up to the ability to come and pull up more tournaments throughout the year without having to worry about whether or not they're gonna face, issues with the bracket and get maybe even injured in a tournament like Matt was saying, and then um, lose the rank that normally they would have to prepare for a super match. Um, Also part of that criteria, I don't think we've gotten there yet, but the preparation time for one of these super match things is it's just all around more beneficial for the top level athletes in California. Um, I think it'll be really good moving forward.
Okay, great, great. And that seems to be the general consensus in the chat here. We have Shane Rosas saying, I do think requiring super matches for the top three will maintain the highest accuracy for the rankings. Todd Colazzo, who's also in the house, good to see you, brother. He says, I agree with Matt's take. Top three change through super matches. We've got our good friend Robert Ballesteros is also in the house. He does agree with the top three criteria as well. What's up, Ed Bedrosian? Good to see you, my man. And Mike Lindner is saying it does make it easy for number three to get a shot at number one. Can you elaborate on that? So we will be getting into how the top three could be called out. So we'll definitely dig into that. And I'll have to apologize for a second. I was in screen share and I think I switched over to a different browser. But we'll hop back into that now. Also, hello to Katie Brewer. Good to see you. I don't think I'm missing anybody. Okay.
No,
Yep.
we got a comment by Carl Gerke, and this is, I think, something that Bill touched on earlier, which is just database facts.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Carl Gerke says, I'm not in the top three left, move me out. We're basing all of the information that we have off of data that we were able to find. And currently the data shows that you are number three, and that's where we're going to leave you until proven otherwise.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Database. And yeah, if anybody has questions, you can. I listed the email address in the description section of this video, of this live stream. You can address any questions that you may have there regarding any specific ranking. I would like to add to that, if that question includes a challenge in terms of where you are at with those rankings, it will help a lot if you do go into AIRS, which is, I believe, aers.com, or any type of bracket results, and show us data that proves otherwise. The only thing that you need to understand is that these dynamics, they go back quite far. And we're strictly in a establishment phase right now where we literally had to backlog all the way through 2024, and work our way from there coming forward, to see the order of matches, who beat who. So if you're basing it on, I think this person beats me or this or that, there could be more to it digging down into that history. So unless there's something very defined, I personally would love to see the perception going forward to let's make some matches happen. Let's get some movement happening with this new criteria in 2025. So Mike Lindner says arrange a super match. Yes. Um, Between number one and number three. Would that be are you talking about Carl Gerke, Mike, or are you talking about yourself in number one? Um, because I would love to see either of those. Let's see. Otherwise, number three would have to find number one at a tournament. So that's the thing, Mike Lindner. Yeah, tournaments don't count. These are going to be call out super matches for number places 1 through 3 to have their rankings challenged. So if you were, say, number three and you wanted a shot at number one, you can call out number one, and you're going to do that through the committee. But let me go ahead and work our way through this criteria because it does explain all that. Here we go.
I was going to suggest that, Kane, because these questions that are popping up, once you go through the criteria, to probably answer all these things that you guys are questioning on.
Great point. Okay, I'll push ahead. Here we go. Okay, digging into item 2, all top 3 ranking callouts must first go through the UAL ranking committee to ensure responsibility and respect takes place between both parties. UAL will assist to make matches happen. That's a key part here, I think. We are definitely advocating for matches to happen. For callouts, 3 months must be given for the ranked puller to accept and prepare. A challenger making a call out does not constitute as the required one super match per year. An example would be if number 2 calls out number 1, regardless that they are both having a super match, number 2 is still eligible for a call out because it was number 2 who called out number 1. So as long as number 1 accepts that match, then that would be number 1's requirement to accept a challenge. Moving forward. Okay, so item 3, a minimum of 1 California super match per year is required per calendar year to keep rank for the top 3 ranks. So that's the activity rule. A minimum of 1 California super match per year is required per calendar year to keep your rank for the top 3. That also plays into back here at item number 2, that for the call outs, that rank holder is going to be given 3 months to prepare for that challenge. Okay. So as a committee, we're really looking for respect and reasonability between both parties. Now, if you are ranked number 1 and somebody who's number 3 or 4 is calling you out, and they're giving you that 3 months to prepare, they're giving the reasonable accommodations, be it travel or whatever, and that rank holder says no within those 3 months, they can basically lose their rank. So those are the things that all need to be considered. We're going to hold both parties accountable, making sure that reasonable accommodation is taking place, and all of these things. Okay. So moving on in item number 3, the ranked puller does not have to defend rank more than 1 time per calendar year, but they may accept more matches if they choose. And knowing a lot of my fellow California arm wrestlers, even at the tippy top, they probably will. We're all competitors, right? We're all athletes. We love to compete. That's what we do. So hopefully that happens as much as possible for everyone, even within the top 3. It says the novelty rule, which we'll get into down below, will be in effect for the top 3. Anyone in the top 10, this is really important, okay? Anyone in the top 10 may call out the top 3 ranks. The UAL committee will also be actively pursuing matches to happen during the course of the year. The requirements are for each arm ranked left and right. So yeah, basically, when it says the UAL committee will also be actively pursuing matches to happen, we are not looking for gatekeeping to happen. We're making sure that everybody is being responsible, respectful with ranks. Okay.
Can we elaborate on that one too, just real quick?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So when you're talking about the committee will try to help super matches happen, we're also going to be trying to pay attention to what matches make sense. We're not going to be looking at matches for 1 versus 10, that type of thing. We're going to be trying to make the best matches possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, really, really good point.
I think, and I'm sure you're going to mention this later on, Kane, but we'd like to try to go in chronicle order. That's kind of what Jeff is saying. So if one's getting a call out, we try to look at 2, 3, 4 on down the road. So for number 10 to jump up to challenge number 1, well, there's 9 people in front of you first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's already happening for the Slaughterhouse Super Match event that's coming up down here in the South. There's already people that are calling out, somebody that's a little bit higher level, and it's happening at the same time. Number 4 is calling out number 2, and number 8's calling out number 2. And I'm letting number 8 know right now, number 4 is getting priority for that, but we're going to try and advocate to get you a match. Let's look at the list. That is what we are here for. So let me get back into the criteria. Go. Sorry, I was just checking into the chat. Quick hello to the Lucky Ones podcast is in the house. I love what you guys are doing, what y'all are doing over there. Let's see. Okay, so that moves us into. Okay, we're still on item 3. Yeah, being that the UAL activity rule is based on the 2025 calendar year, all previous rankings earned with last activity from 2024 will be listed as 1/1/25. Moving forward into 2026, using the calendar year will make activity easier to track. So what this means basically is instead of having individual dates of the last time somebody pulled and trying to track that in a broad scope, we are switching to the calendar year. To do that, that means there has to be somewhat of a buffer switching from the way things were before. So to do that, to keep it calendar year from here forward, if you competed and you had activity that we logged from 2024, that new log is 1/1/25, the first day of this year. And your activity is in effect from that point forward. Okay, so moving on to item number 4, the UAL will actively advocate for top 3 ranking matches to happen in a timely fashion and prevent gatekeeping. It is the committee's goal to ensure each match meets the needs of both rank holder and the challenger. So I kind of went over that a little bit earlier. One added note for number 4, the committee is not involved in callouts to dictate specifics of the deals or negotiations. Callouts go through the committee primarily to keep both parties accountable in an official capacity and help facilitate the callout process to lead to a match that is reasonable for both parties, which seems to be working out pretty good so far already. And just to give you an example of that, without that, a rank holder could pretty much be saying to the community, oh, no one's called me out this year, or they were expecting this or that or whatever. We're here to step in and help be your representatives to make sure everything is on the up and up, and everybody is being reasonable on both sides. Okay, anything you guys want to add so far before I jump into 5? Okay.
What number are you on there, Kane? Is it number 5?
We are on item 5, which is our last item before
go.
we jump into ranks 4 through 15.
So, Kane, just real quick, just looking at the questions about Vosgan and Mike, you might want to address coming up a couple. So as far as their ranking, just the question was Mike and Vos match was supposed to be for the rank. We just kicked out with this rank recently. I mean, so we're not sure what that match comprised of, but was it the right weight class? Which,
Yeah,
from what we understand, it isn't. But
yeah,
go ahead, Kane.
you broke up on us for a little bit. Was this referring to their super match, the
Yeah,
question?
at the Kringle pool, Mike Linder didn't pull in the 165 because he didn't make weight for that. From what I
No.
understand.
Well, that's not exactly how it went. The Travis, the organizer, was definitely advocating and putting that together to be a 165 ranking match, but for particular reasons, both athletes did not end up coming in at 165. So, yeah, it was not a 165 official ranking match, but I think a lot of us want to see that match happen. So, yeah,
That's the
yeah,
call out.
yeah, that's where the call out comes in, Mr. Lindner. Make the call out. Hit us up as per the criteria. Reach out to the committee if you want to call somebody out, and we will open up a conversation. That's pretty much how we're running it for the most part with the top three. We'll open it up and see what we can help you guys work out.
And when you say hit up the committee, you could reach out to any one of us. So if you're in the South, you want to reach out to Kane, you want to reach out to me or Matt or Bill, you can reach out to any one of us on Messenger if you have our phone number. And then we'll take the information over to the committee and discuss it and move forward with the process.
Definitely. Okay, and important factor, the final factor for the top three criteria, number 5, a senior or master certified head referee is required for all top 3 ranking super matches. So, yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. If there's going to be a ranking match happening for anyone in the top 3, that head referee reffing that match needs to be either a master ref or a senior ref, certified as such.
So, Kane, let me just jump in there. You got right now, currently, we got 4 seniors in the South, 2 masters in the North. When you guys do set up a super match through the committee will reach out to the. I'm gonna use the North for example because it's myself and Chris. We will try our best and diligence to make sure that we are there to referee that match for you. Big reason why is, Matt has already mentioned how prestige and what kind of a badass you are to be in the top 3. We want to secure that integrity to make sure you get good, solid referees that know what the hell's going on, so you don't get cheated out of a match. All right.
Yes. Yes, very.
And then also too, we haven't gotten to that part yet for the 4 through 15, but I think why we made the decision for the 4 through 15 criteria with ranking with reffing also, if Bill could touch on that real quick.
Oh, jumping right into that for the 415 ref. Yeah, I guess we might as well.
Before we move on to that, I just want to mention something. Paul Stevens had a question about calling somebody out at an event that's less than 3 months away. If both parties agree to less than 3 months, it's okay. But keep in mind the criteria. If you're calling out someone in the top 3, if it doesn't fulfill the criteria, having a master or senior referee at that event, that's going to be something that you're going to need to organize through the committee. And if that's not possible at that event, then it doesn't fit the criteria and you won't be able to have that match.
Absolutely. Todd Colazzo says we need more senior refs. This is true. And
let me address that one, Matt.
Yeah, please.
I mean, excuse me, Ken. Yeah, so I'll blame that one on me. I'll own it. Kane and I talked about probably 2 months ago, we need more certified referees. And me being one of the few individuals in the United States that's certified, that's being recognized, we're going to make that happen. We're going to have different referee seminars looking at the South and the North. But keep in mind, just because you're going to go to a referee seminar doesn't mean that you can pass the test. Because I'm pretty anal when we start getting at the senior and the master level, for the simple fact that it's a seminar. You have to pass a written test, and then you have to pass a hands-on test. The written test is basically WAF rules. Okay. During the seminar, we'll talk about any differences, such as ready, go versus don't move, go. Now, when we start looking at the hands-on, we've got about 24 different hands-on simulations that we do. When you start looking at a senior referee, there's 3 levels of it: 1, 2, and 3. When you start becoming a master's, if you miss more than 2, you just flunk the test. That master referee should be able to referee a match with a downside that knows almost absolutely nothing, meaning that that master referee could almost referee that match by himself. So that and refereeing, I see a lot of referees jumping on the table that probably shouldn't be there. Refereeing is like being in the top 3, like Matt has mentioned. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the table time. What I highly suggest, if you guys are at practices and stuff, start getting on that table, start practicing. Because when you start looking at and Kane go through the criteria for the 15th on the level of referees that could referee your match and still have that super match count. But just keep in mind, like I said, table time. It doesn't matter if you're a referee or if you're an arm wrestler. If you don't have the table time, you're going to only be as good as much time that you put into it. So, but we are going to have more seminars. We are going to start getting certified referees. But just keep in mind, it's a junior, senior, and then a master. And based off of where you fall on the hands-on and the written, that's where you're going to be sitting. And there's always room for advancement. And like I say, I'll make myself available to these referee seminars and these certifications, and I'll work through the committee on that as well. All right, Kane, all you.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, when those happen, I myself will be trying to get certified. I hope as many people in this state as possible try to get certified. Even just as an athlete, it's going to make you a better arm wrestler. Because you got to know the rules to be a good arm wrestler. So we've got reflective perspective in here. What's up? Really advocating for the Mike and Vosgin ranking match to happen, as well as Javier Martinez. And let's see. There was one other thing. Oh, Shane Rosas was asking, what is the super match criteria in terms of like best of? So from my perspective, it's that's going to be one of the things that is negotiated between the challenger and the rank holder. Are you looking for more of a best of 3? Are you looking to get real crazy and do a best of 7? Yeah, different pullers are looking for different things. You might be an endurance puller. Some super heavyweights might want to do a best of 3. That's going to be up to them to agree. All right, I think we're ready for the 4 through 15 criteria. Let me get that set up here. All right. Okay, ranks 4 through 15, men and women. So we're moving right on here to item number 6. This is California tournaments and super matches both count for 4 through 15 ranks. So that's where we're starting to allow the cream to rise to the top here. More arm wrestling, more ranking fluctuations to happen. So any tournament or super match that you compete in California, you can fluctuate rankings. Now, number 7, to take a 4 through 15 ranking in a California tournament, you must have a winning record on that ranked puller within the tournament bracket. Okay. Now I must be Jeff looking at an old draft of this, but we are also requiring for the for you to also must also place ahead within that tournament. So I'm just going to write it so you guys can see that, but that's what our current revised one says. Let's place ahead within the tournament. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I believe it is our chairman that has the revised version of this. we worked tirelessly on this Mamma Jamma for a long time. So throwing this back and forth and getting it nice and tight. So basically, if you're going to take a rank in a tournament for within the 4 through 15, it's not only going to be based on the winning record, but you also have to place ahead of said puller within the tournament. You all you really got to do is beat them once to potentially take that rank, but you also have to place ahead to fully solidify that ranking change. Number 8, for rankings 4 through 15, rank holders must compete a minimum of 2 times per year. Wait, is this also still too old? Because it's just the one time, correct? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Why do I?
The correct criteria is on the UAL website. So
Yeah, maybe I should just pull that up and we'll scroll
yeah,
through. Okay, sorry about that.
no, it's okay.
All right.
And while you pull that up, Todd had a question about if a 1 through 3 has a super match, but it's not with a certified ref, does that count towards their activity? No. It needs to fall within the criteria, and that rank has to be on the line, and it can't be on the line if you don't have a senior master ref. So
Okay, and here is the criteria. Let's see. Yeah, only issue is I won't be able to blow that up the same way.
just cross-reference. I think everything else is the same.
Yeah,
I think that was the last thing that we missed.
that was really it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. To pull it back up. And
another thing.
criteria. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we are on, let's see, so one time, yeah, for rankings 4 through 15, rank holders must compete a minimum of 1 time per year in a California tournament or a super match. Okay, so that is the expectation for ranks 4 through 15. And we will move right on to number 9, sharing this over. Okay, so certified, this is the big one that Jeff was talking about. Certified head referees are not required in California competitions or super matches for rankings 4 through 15, with the added indication that if by the end of the year we have more certified referees in California, we can revisit this rule in 2026. So keep that in mind as a key point. This ranking criteria is for 2025. As we are all growing and getting adjusted to this criteria. If adjustments need to be made for 2026, that can happen. But as Bill mentioned, it is a clear goal to get more people certified in 2025.
Yeah. So Kane, let me jump in on that one. You guys need to be careful too when you start looking at the head referees are not required to be certified. As I mentioned, there's 3 certifications. There's a junior, there's the senior, there's the master. If you guys are going to be accepting a super match challenge to move you up in the rankings, there's a lot of juniors out there. At least they got the basic skill set. They may not have the advanced skill set, but the basic skill set is better than someone that don't have any skill set at all. So, in a lot of the tournaments that I've seen in California, I've seen junior referees there, and I've seen a lot of people head refereeing these matches that don't have any skill set. So, just be careful. They're available. All the promoter has to do is reach out to them if you want a super match, and I'm sure I would like to think they'd accommodate. Um, there's not a whole lot of stuff going on in the middle of California. So it's either the north or the south where most of the tournaments are happening, and that's where a lot of the certified referees are. So you could still take that match by a non-certified referee, but keep in mind, careful what you ask for because they may miss something. I just reviewed a couple videos someone sent me yesterday, and yeah, it was something that could have changed that match in the other direction if that referee's skill set could have picked up on a few things. But again, we're going to be moving forward with these different seminars to get more certified referees out there for California. Oh,
Definitely.
you can.
Now, Bill, would you say that it could be a good idea if somebody is looking to be more active and maybe make their way to becoming a certified head referee? Uh, would it be a good opportunity to volunteer as being a down ref for some of these matches where there is a certified ref, that they might be able to learn a little something in that circumstance to improve?
Are you saying who for the down ref?
So people that are actually looking to get certified, that are not quite certified, to get a little experience as a down ref.
Yeah, it's best if they do it off the table. And the reason why I say that, I put on over 400, I'm not gonna even mention the number. Let's just say I put on hundreds of events. Um, Something that you guys need to be aware of is as a good or certified referee, part of the teaching process is knowing where these injuries are going to come into play. And injuries, as you guys know, could happen with the blink of an eye. And a referee that's got some skill set, they could see some of these injuries before they happen. Now, I grant you, some of them you can't predict because the arm wrestlers are not in a bad position and they have these freak breaks. But yeah, if worst case, what I've done in the past with people that want to become a referee, throw that referee shirt on and hang out with me by the side of the table. And you might not be refereeing, but you're going to get some firsthand experience when that call is made. If you have a good coach, they should be able to help you out, get to that next level. So, a non-skilled someone on the downside, if you've got a good referee on the top side, that downside ref, just give them a few basic skills what to look for, and it'll definitely enhance them. So, yeah, Kane, that's not a bad suggestion.
Okay, so moving on here into number 10, getting into the top 4 through 15 or 1 through 3. So to get onto the 4 through 15 list, you must have a winning score on a 4 through 15 ranked puller in a tournament, or you must beat a rank 4 through 15 ranked puller in a super match. So pretty simple there. And then to get into the top 3, this is a little bit more stringent. To get into the top 3, you must first be ranked within the top 3 to earn the right to a top 3 call out. So even though you could be in the top 15 list, you might be number 11 or 12, you're not quite eligible yet to call out somebody in the top 3. You got to make that top 10 to earn the right to call out somebody in the top 3. When that happens, you must then contact the UAL committee to set up an appropriate California super match and win that super match. Just do that. Call them out and then win. So that's pretty much it, I believe. Oh, we've got our novelty rule. Okay. So this is a very special circumstance. So you compete in a tournament and yeah, you're not even ranked. If a puller has a winning record and places ahead of any top 3 ranked puller in a California tournament within the same weight class, no ranking adjustments take place, but that puller earns the right to a priority call out for a match with that same top 3 puller for rank. The committee will do its best to make a match happen that works for both the rank holder and the challenger. So, yeah, this is a special circumstance where a lot of, even though the top 3 ranks cannot be affected by tournaments. A lot of them are going to compete in tournaments, some even more so, knowing they can go out there and have fun and get experience and not have their high rank be affected by a random bracket. So, but the way it can potentially be is if they actually get beat by somebody who is not, yeah, just if they get beat by somebody, we can arrange a priority call out for that. So that's pretty much it. Is there anything you guys want to add at this point?
Yeah, I want to mention something. Kane, I know we've talked about it, but man, with all the stuff that we had to deal with, it kind of got pushed to the wayside, I think. I know Jeff had touched on this with me a while back as well. Let's just say we got and we like to have these super matches in California. I mean, that's why we're doing the rankings. But shits and giggles. Let's say if you got two California pullers go out of state, you want to address that, Ken? Is that super match going to count? Because most likely the guys, I'm going to use Arizona for example. Tim's over there. John's over there. We got a master and a senior. So let's just say shits and giggles. You got two guys from California go over there and support their event, which everybody should. And they have a match, a super match. Is that match going to count towards the California ranking if it's in a different state and they're using certified referees? That's something that we had talked about. I don't think we ever finalized it. And we may have just said, let's revisit that thing in 2006, but
Damn it, Bill,
let's
you're really putting us on the spot here.
Well, this one kind of floats up my alley with the rankings because I ran into some of these issues whenever I was going through the rankings in the air system. But we had California pullers that pulled in a Nevada or Arizona tournament, and we had some ranking changes, but it happened in another state. And the rule of thumb, I think uh, that we came to an agreement on was is if it's two California boys that are two California ladies that are pulling in another state and they're both in the same weight class, that we'll just count that rank. We'll count that change. And I don't think that would be a bad idea with the top three super match out of state either. Um, Nothing changes as far as their weight or their ability. They're just in a tournament in another state.
I think this is definitely something that we should talk about. Does this out of state match follow the California criteria? Is this going to be something that we could track accurately? Do we want to track this? Is this, because some people pull out of state a lot. So yeah, as Bill said, definitely something on the table maybe for 2026, because there's a lot of things we have to consider. In a full year of doing the rankings, we're going to have a lot of data of what's practical and what may not be practical tracking wise and all that. So, but yeah, really good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. That could be one of the things where we set out for our next agenda. Right now, I think we're trying to get a hold on the California ranking and how it's going to proceed and see how it plays out. So yeah, definitely it's on the agenda for future discussion. So yeah, thanks for kicking me in the ass, Matt.
You're welcome.
Uh, there's a question from Todd Colazzo. If the number one rank needs to defend and he agrees, but there is not a senior master referee available, does it count as the yearly minimum showing? I'm not quite sure if he means if that counts for his requirement because he wasn't able to get a master referee. Is that how you understand it, Kane?
Yeah, that is how I understand it. I think that's part of why we're here is to make sure that match happens with certified refs and everything. Now the part I feel like they could be like discussable here or could cause somewhat of an issue is if, say, that one match in which the rank holder is defending is coming more towards the end of the year, and that ref, for whatever reason, has to back out of that. That's a tricky spot to resolve, but I would think that in most other cases during the year, we could, arrange so that a certified ref is reffing that match. It's definitely my opinion and position. If we're talking the top three, we need a certified ref to be reffing that match. There's just going to be too many questions and too many holes that we can poke
I
in
think his
that
his
match.
main question was, does it count towards his engagement? I don't think so because it did not follow the criteria.
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
so, that you're
And,
right. Go ahead, Bill.
there's a reason why we gave them 3 months to prepare. That's not only just the puller, but the referee included.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good
And I
point.
think within a 3 month period, between the South and the North, we will have that covered. So I think, I think we'll deal with that when we cross that hurdle. And we're the referee's going to try their best to make that match. So again, like I say, we give the 3 months for the call out. The committee knows it. Whoever the promoter is on it, the promoter has to have some diligence to reach out to the referees to try to make that match happen as well. For the simple fact, as a promoter, for me to host an event and have the top three call outs, that's going to enhance my event. So I'm going to make damn sure. Well, of course, I'll be there, I'm thinking, but the other promoter, I think they'd make damn sure that they got a referee to accommodate you, so their event also could benefit from it.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
got a question in the chat, Kane?
Yeah, we got a few. Shane Rosas is asking in regard to weight, how many pullers cut weight for tournaments is the same going to be required for the super match ranking matches? And the answer to that is 100% yes. Because everybody that is ranked, they're ranked within a particular weight class. And if they want to stay ranked in that class, be it the super match of the tournament, that has to take place at that weight. So, yeah, the Slaughterhouse event that's coming up, that's just primarily ranking super matches. There will be a scale there. There will be a weigh-in time, and both challenger and rank holder are going to be expected to make weight, specifically for them to be ranked within that specific weight class. Future Legend, welcome to the chat, says, if there's fewer than 15 pullers in a ranking class, do you still need to win against someone to get ranked? I'll let you guys on that one.
Yeah, I would say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was gonna say this is a good question, because this is something that's come up a few times in the committee while we were talking, and it's how surprised we were whenever we were going through all of these rankings and stuff to find that some of these classes are pretty empty. If you're an amateur puller and you pull at the 80 in the 85 and the 205 and you see some spots available, and you're willing to test yourself in the open division, come and pull in the open division. If you win, or even if you lose, I think really we have a lot of spots available, and then you could just kind of work your way up the list as you go along.
Right. So
It's going to take. I'm sorry, Kane. Yeah, it's going to take a little. It's going to take a little time and some events for these spots to get filled.
Yeah.
By the end of the year in 2026, when we start revisiting this whole ranking thing, I would like to assume that all 15 spots are going to be filled.
For sure.
So,
yeah,
okay.
Well, and it is a good question, because like if we only have 8 people, I mean technically for accuracy, you'd have to beat number 8, and the number 8 becomes 9, and then you beat 9, and number 9 becomes 10. Because how do you know if you're really, if there's only 1 through 8, like how do you know you're number 9?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like how do you track that? I guess you have to be the best loser. I mean,
Well, really, just show up and throw your hat in the ring. We just
That's
need
it.
more people pulling in the open class.
Yeah, because one of two things is going to happen. Either what Matt said, you're going to end up beating number 7 or whatever, and everyone's going to shift down. And it's going to fill out just by one spot, or you're just going to compete. Since this is it's the top of the year, this ranking system just started in 2025. This is your golden opportunity to just compete and get in there and get on the list. So if you go 0-2 at that competition and there's nobody else that did better than you within that bracket, and still didn't, beat whoever was in last within the rankings, then you're gonna be in there. But that's how I see it, guys. Like if there's two
But is
people
that how
like
you
in
want to
the
get your
top,
rank? Is that how you want to get your top 10 rank by losing? Like being 0-2? I guess it's your own thing. Like you're like, oh, I'm ranked number 8 in like whatever the weight class is. I didn't beat anyone, but I'm ranked.
hey, we need more arm wrestlers. Like, I mean, to me, it plays to the fact that I believe we do have a lot of arm wrestlers that know how to pull safe. They've been pulling a while, and you know, they finally have a reason to, make the shift up to the open class. We need more arm wrestlers. I personally want to see our, so it's the 165s that are pretty light right now, no pun intended. I would like to see a time come where there's 15 ranked 165s that are competing open, and that there's also 30 or 40 competing in that class that are not ranked,
Mhm.
to give it more prestige. There's
We
there's
can,
just no way around it. It's just, if to me at this point, if you compete, you win. And I'm not just talking about getting a free spot into number 14 or whatever. My hat's off to you because you competed in the open class, and you helped fill us out more, basically.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We noticed too whenever we were going through the rankings. I think there's a lot of amateurs that are a little nervous about coming up and pulling in the open class. And
watch that.
um, just an example of this, I have one of my training partners. Whenever we were going through the rankings, he had shown up to a tournament that was open only, and he didn't realize it whenever he showed up. He pulled in the open only tournament and he beat some people, and now he's on the open rankings, and he had previously never pulled in an or an open tournament. And so like you just never know. You stay in the amateur class because you're afraid to make that jump, but you may be a little bit more ready than you thought you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, here's a caveat to everything that we're talking about as far as the open spots. And when we first opened this up, we talked about the north not traveling south and the south not traveling north. A very small percentage does. So let's just say, shits and giggles, we do have open spots on a weight class. Keep in mind, who fills that spot? The only way we could put a person in that empty spot is based off the data that we receive. So if North has an event tomorrow, I'm just saying this as an example, and we got the data, that data is going to be placed on the ranking.
Mhm.
So we got the North and the South that need to start commingling a little bit, because whoever event sends in the data first, and if there's open spots, them are going to be the placeholders that get on that ranking. And the only way you're going to be able to move up that ranking is meet each other through the tournament or the callouts.
Yeah. Okay, you've convinced me. I agree. If you compete, even if you lose, that's some incentive for you. And I just want to squash this right now. There's a stigma, California. I don't know if it's NorCal or whatever. Is that you need some type of a shoulder tap or something to move into open. Bill, can you tell everyone what open means?
Yes, please, please.
Yeah. So without getting, well, let's put it
You
this
don't
way.
have to go that deep.
I don't want to scare people away on this, but there's a reason why you will never see the UAL say this is a pro class, for the simple fact that unless you're pulling an elite and making a living off this thing, you're not considered a pro. And like I said, I put on hundreds of events before. We had an amateur jump into a pro class and hurt himself. Um, Well, when I was in the hot seat during the litigation, one of the questions from the personal injury attorney is why did I let that amateur go into the pro class, even though I didn't know that individual took himself out of the amateur and went in the pro class. So open means anybody and everybody. When you start saying pro, it needs to be managed such as. And it's a managing nightmare to think that, okay, yeah, you're a pro or no, you're a pro. How are you going to calibrate that? Just because you won $100 at a fair or $200 at some other event? No. So again, when we start talking open, it's anybody and everybody. You get an amateur that wants to jump in there, so it be it. That was his choice. Okay. When we start listing amateurs, we will not let a seasoned arm wrestler go into an amateur class. And what I mean by season is we got a criteria that we're gonna include into this thing. What makes an amateur arm wrestler? So whenever you win, just a short version of this thing, if you've won 3 first place amateur tournaments that's been recognized, you are no longer going to be an amateur. You go into the open class. It's just not fair for the amateurs to have a seasoned guy sit there and win all the trophies. Hell, I'll sell you a trophy if you want to, if you're a trophy hound. But we want to try to make it fair so that amateur does have that experience going up to become an open puller or what some people call pro. So again, a pro puller, if you're not lead events where they're paying out big money, where you can really be considered a pro. The internet button came out where you could consider yourself a pro. Get an open class. That's why we design.
Yeah.
It's anybody and everybody.
And then I think really what I was thank you for that, Bill. What I was really getting at is you don't have to wait for someone to tap you on the shoulder. There's no underground rule like, hey, you can't do this yet. My first tournament, I did amateur and then I did open. And then I never did amateur again. I only did open. And for years I just lost all the time. Like just constantly getting my butt kicked every time I competed, but I didn't wait for someone to tap me on the shoulder. And then, like as Bill was saying, there's the opposite. There's people who sit in amateurs for like years. And it's like, bud, you don't have to wait for someone to tap you on the shoulder. Like, do both. Arm wrestle as much as you can. Like, so don't be afraid to try the open class and it's open. It's for everyone. It's not just for pros. It's for everyone. Open.
Yeah. And what I found really interesting was the way you articulated that, Bill, with that. So the whole win 3 amateurs, you move to pro is typically among the community thought in a different light. It's more thought of when it's your time that you should go into pro because of the dangerous waters they're about to enter. You can only earn the right to go pull in the open class if you've cleaned house 3 times at an amateur tournament. But the way you're articulating it is more, look, it's unfair to the amateurs if you've won 3 amateur tournaments and you're going to keep pulling in the amateurs. So for me, I know we all have our different perceptions on this in the community. For me, the biggest problem is it's not so much the amateurs themselves. It's the team leaders and the open pullers that are telling them that they need that shoulder tap, that are telling them they need to do this, this, and that before they're allowed to compete open. And what I've noticed more often when that's happening, it's because that open puller or team leader is priding themselves as a pro when typically they're not. Because those that are competing open might even be ranked, want to feel like it's this special club or something like that. No, it's the open class. If you've learned how to pull safely and you know how to compete and protect yourself and all that stuff, come join us. Help fill out these classes. But that's my perception.
No, good perception.
We need more of y'all. Get in here.
Yeah, I agree. You know, sometimes I'll go to a tournament and there's like, you know, because I'm super heavyweight, there's like three guys, you know, in the pro class, you know. You just pull both. You know,
Right.
it's an extra $30 or 40 or whatever. Pull both, you know, you get the experience with doing both, you
Sure.
know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe mine was pride. I give all my trophies to my dad, like I don't keep any of them. And so, you know, in the amateurs, I'm just like, I don't want any of this junk.
Right.
You know, like I want the open stuff.
I love what our captain of our team, Derek Smith, says often to our amateurs. They, because that question always comes up, and he answers it as, well, do you know how to pull safely? Do you know how to protect yourself? Did we teach you that properly and everything? And they're like, well, yeah. And he's like, then just go pull both. You know, you don't have to do one of it. Just go pull both. Like, because the biggest prize you get is from pulling as much as possible.
Experience.
We're getting experience. It's exactly what we're after here. We all run our own race. I get that. But
Yeah, and California is a tough state. Everyone is ridiculously strong here.
yeah,
So
those
don't
competing amateurs too. Yeah, they're good.
don't you can I don't care how good you are, like once you step in the open, like you're gonna get your ass kicked for a long time. Like it
For
doesn't matter if you're
sure.
2, 3, 4, 5 years in, like you're getting your ass kicked. So don't
I
worry
keep
about it. Just get in there now.
I keep hearing this excuse, Matt, where the reason why is because they know they're going to go 0 and 2 and they're not going to get
That's my
experience.
middle name.
Right. People tell them, well, you'll get the experience you need in the open class. If you know how to pull safe, go out there and get the experience so you can get better. And I've heard a lot of arguments that, well, how am I going to get experience if I just get flash pinned twice and I'm out of the tournament?
Do both.
That happens to all of us. Like, I mean, there's a few like top 5 guys, I think, just in the last UAL tournament that went 0 and 2, myself included. I it was on the left, I think. Yeah. But it ain't stopping me for sure. Because there's plenty, and that was the, Cal State. But that's just how it goes. There's straight killers in there. And I myself have literally traveled to another state where I knew I was going against a higher level. I literally spent money to get on a plane and go to another state to compete against some of the top guys in the country when all I really knew how to do was pull safe. But my reasoning is I want to feel what the better pullers feel like. I want to find out what I can learn from them. What am I trying? What am I like aiming for? You know what I mean? If How am I going to know if I don't feel it? And even better, get a chance to after pull with all of them and learn from them, you know.
And luckily, all those better polars, a lot of them are here in California. So
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, you could stay here and get plenty of lessons.
the other side of the coin to it too is if the classes are bigger in the open class and you have more people that were pulling in the amateurs that are going to be joining into the open class, then you have more of a shot to actually get some wins if you do pretty well in the amateur class, and also more people to tire out those guys that are in the top 10, top 15.
Very true. Yep. Yeah, if everyone is worried about getting in there, it's just going to stay the same thing. You're just going to have a
yeah,
bunch of top 5s in every event.
give us some people to poll, you know, because in NorCal I have number one and like number two, you know, or you know, right in
It's
my
true,
class,
yeah.
like Tom and Ilya, and it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna be bam, bam, you know.
Yeah, and that's the bad part about the brackets too. You could go and just get super unlucky, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
the in the chat we got Chris Sawacki, one of the guys who's constantly moving up in the ranks. He's suggesting triple elimination tournaments. Yeah, could be an answer to, allow people to pull a little bit more. Those brackets are complicated though.
And that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, Bill, have you ever run a triple elimination tournament before?
That cause it for me?
Yeah, have you ever like operated a triple elimination?
No, But Corey's bracket system could do that. I think he worked on a triple elimination bracket system, which it would be fairly easy to do if you use Corey's bracket system, which he's perfected. I've been using that thing for years. I think where the problem with me is I like putting on tournaments in a sports arena versus just four walls, such as the expos. And when we start dealing with the expos, they're so time sensitive that you got to have your stuff really dialed in. And it's getting to where when I'm doing these expos, we're getting about as many as amateurs are we as for the open classes.
Mhm.
So, like I say, I would have to experiment on a triple elimination outside of the expo, just to see what my timing is because when I put on a tournament, you tell me how many people's in the tournament, I'll get within 30 minutes of us being completed because we know how many we could run per hour. Of course, the triple elimination is going to add time. The biggest thing when we start dealing with the triple elimination is the people that we're catering to. A lot of them don't know what's going on, and it's going to add time. So, if we got 120, let's just say I got 120 pullers for a specific tournament, and the logistics isn't dialed in. Think about when I call up Kane to the table, and it takes you 1 minute to get to the table, and then 30 seconds to get your grip, and then you slip, and then another 30 seconds to read. 2 minutes went by. Go 120 people, double it up. That's 240 minutes. So it really gets time sensitive if we start looking at the triple. But it's a damn good idea because you guys had mentioned earlier, some guys are up twice, up and down. They don't even get the experience. So that triple is going to change the whole dynamics.
Mhm.
I may experiment that one of these days. Probably when I say one of these days, sooner than later, just for the simple fact that that has been an issue on tournaments. People travel, they spend their money, they go over there, they're down to, and they're done for the day. At
Yeah.
least, adding that third round in there, they may get lucky and who knows? I've been in many tournaments over my years where I got put on the B side and come back and won the event. So it's that extra chance you guys might get. So yeah, I'm not opposed to it, but I would definitely want to run that outside of an expo because, like I say, we have to provide special entertainment from start time to finish time, and if we go over, oh man, it's going to be a mess trying to figure out where to finish the finals off at when they're kicking us out of the expos.
Yeah, maybe even for just an open only tournament if it ran triple. That might be more motivation for the, more
Oh,
experienced arm.
absolutely, absolutely. I know some people are doing that. Like I say, I just have to try it outside the walls where it's not time sensitive to see how many people I could run in an hour if the logistics is set up correctly.
Right, right.
I
Or
know
even
people
just
would feel like
allocating. Yeah, go ahead.
they got their money's worth if they had three options,
For
like there's
sure.
no, yeah, I like that idea.
And if instead of an amateur class, it was just like a legit novice class, it
Mhm.
would probably be pretty light. You wouldn't have a whole lot of if we're just talking about the people that don't really know how to pull,
Yeah, yeah.
then that probably wouldn't be too much of a time sucker to even include that. Yeah.
Oh, Crystal
Yeah,
Lackey says some out of state tournaments are, and Bob Brown's tournaments are triple elimination from what it looks like.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're out there, but they're not time sensitive tournaments either.
Hmm.
Like I say, that's the key. If and again, if I had and putting on a tournament at an expo is, Jeff, you've helped out before. They're a pain in the butt, but
Yeah, they
you
are.
get a million different eyes watching a professional event that they've never seen before. And I've picked up sponsors, arm wrestlers picked up sponsors versus a tournament that has four walls because you're catering to your customers, which are the arm wrestlers. Nobody from the outside really sees the sport.
Yeah.
That's why the sports arenas are key to try to move this sport in a different direction. And it has in some cases. And
Mhm.
like I say, when I was a very competitive arm wrestler, I've picked up several sponsors. It built my resume. I picked up sponsors because, again, you're getting a million eyes. Like just for an example, the Fit Expo. They had an estimate of 50 to 60,000 people walk through the front door. You're not going to get You're not going to get 100 people walking through that door just to watch an arm wrestling event when there's four walls built around them. Because everybody inside that deal and everybody inside that venue that's watching you are competitors or friends or families of the competitor. So it's got its benefits. We'll definitely entertain that triple elimination. Matter of fact, Kane, we talked about an event that's coming up. That might not be a bad place to give it a go.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's talk to Corey and see if we can
Yeah, no
uh
doubt.
get that system. Yeah,
Oh,
let's do
I'm sure I'm one of his customers, so I'm sure he'll not unless he wants to charge me double for it. But that's okay.
it. Yeah,
That's okay.
I'd actually like to.
But something to think about. I'll bang it out with you and Jeff, and we'll talk about this thing. Matt too.
Okay, you got it. Travis Dinsmore says you guys are awesome and we appreciate you. Man, that means a lot. Thank you, Travis. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks, Travis.
So yeah, that's what's been going on. And
Anybody want to just mention if you have had any questions outside of the chat here? What's the number one thing that you've heard people asking you, Kane, as far as just to clarify before we get off?
it's been that. I mean, I think it's been the same thing probably for you guys as well. Why am I ranked below these people? I have never pulled these
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very common question. And yeah, those people basically, as Bill said very well earlier, they basically pulled somebody that has beat you or has, beat people that were ahead of you already through the rankings that are constantly moving and established, a ways back, basically.
Hmm.
So a lot of dynamics go into that. And even it's it, it's something that I definitely want to see our California athletes get more education on and really understand how the ranking system works. It'll benefit you all as competitors to know what you're looking to navigate, how you want to plot out your year and who you want to pull, who makes the most sense to have a super match with. Um, but yeah, that's been it for me. How about you guys?
Well, for me, I mean, if you have a question about the like you guys were saying why or what's going on, ask the question. You know, if you're thinking about sending us a message like, hey man, like take me off the rankings, we're gonna take you off. Okay, we're not gonna ask why. You're just gone. So if there's a reason why you want to be taken off the rankings, um, open up, like discuss it. If something doesn't make sense, let's figure it out. But if you don't want to be on the rankings because you don't understand something, and that's your way to communicate that, we're going to grant that wish for you. Okay? So if you have a question about something you don't understand, ask that. Don't just lead with, "Oh, take me off the rankings."
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Important bit there. Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
I
Ever
mean, I get the frustration. I can totally understand somebody looking at the ranking and like seeing a name ahead of them that they've never seen before, and they've been on the scene for a while, and worked really hard to get on the list. That person just got beat. The guy above you got beat by somebody that you've never pulled before. It is what it is. Now you can reach out and try to call that guy out. Or you can reach out and try to call out somebody
Solutions.
above you. There's solutions to whatever issues you have with your ranking and where your spot is, but just communicate. Reach out to us, let us know, and we'll help you moving forward.
Yep. Yeah.
So I want to touch on what Jeff had just said, and I think everybody needs to keep this thing in mind. This is a non-biased, data-driven ranking system. Okay, that's huge. The list that we adopted wasn't a non-biased, data-driven ranking system. Okay, I'm brutally honest here, and I think once the flow gets going with this ranking system, I would like to think that the arm wrestlers are going to embrace what we're doing. Um, when they start looking at, and Matt just hit on this, Puller saying, I see him ranked ahead of me. In the beginning of the chat, we talked about the reason why that was happening. And once the ranking system gets established, because like I say, it was mentioned we don't have 15 in every class. Once it gets established, arm wrestlers are going to see exactly how the flow is going to work. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not because you're my buddy that you're going to get moved up ahead of somebody. It's going to be something that we could justify. And if we ever had to defend it, which I don't think we're going to have to get into that predicament, because the proof is in the pudding. It's on paper. It's done through the bracketing system. And again, I think once it gets established and we start rolling through this, I would like to think the majority of the California arm wrestlers are going to embrace it, and hopefully, you know, there's one thing I want to mention too is, some of the questions I think all of us has encountered, what Matt said earlier, and it's not, oh, I think I could beat him, or oh, I think he beat the other guy. It's not the assumption. We have to have facts. And again, it's data-driven facts that built this ranking system the way it is right now. And trust me, arm wrestlers out there, you have no idea how many countless hours was put into this thing to try to establish the most accurate system that we could come up with. And that's where we're at right now.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I lost. I was like number 9 super heavyweight, and then I got pushed down to 15. Like, if this system was biased, like I would have went from 9 to 8.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was Jeff, you who handled the 165s. I don't really think I touched that. So yeah, we're
Yeah,
we all got brutalized.
driven.
Yeah, I tried to give I worked on 65s, Heather worked on 85s. We were trying not to mix match anything where I would have any control or whatever.
Over yours, right.
Yeah.
Right.
What I just wanted to touch on this real quick because I think Bill said something earlier. There's a lot of people that have given us a lot of credit for the work that we're doing. None of the work that we've done thus far is for monetary value. We want everybody in this community to know that we're doing this for the community. I think I could speak for everybody in
Wait,
this.
you guys are getting paid?
Yeah,
Oh,
I speak for everybody in this community when I say that we really do care about arm wrestling in California.
Yeah.
And we've all decided to put in a whole lot of work. This is a lot of work that we put in, and a lot of time taken out of our busy days, a lot of days of us messaging each other while working and trying to work around our kids and our families and our schedules to make this work. And we're doing it for the community. And we just appreciate the positive feedback, and just know that if something isn't done that you don't like, or something is done that you don't like, we're willing to work with you guys to help fix it.
Uh-oh, we lost him.
Oh, so let me jump in where Jeff left off. He said we're willing to help fix it, but let's keep one thing in mind. You guys need to do the homework as well.
Mhm.
And if you see something that isn't right, and you could prove it from
Back it
the
up.
database information, then we're able to help you out. But you guys need to put in the time and the effort to help us out as well. I just seen a question from Ed. He's hit it on the head, and we said this many times within our community. We're not going to please everybody. So our diligence is database. I can't say that enough. Database driven. And that's how we come up with where you were sitting on the ranking. It might not be 100% accurate, but we're going to get as close as we can with the proof that we have.
Yeah, and having integrity hurts feelings, like
Absolutely.
doing things honestly and with integrity and the right thing is the narrow path, and it's going to hurt people's feelings. And we're not here to make friends with people. We're here for accuracy and unbiased information.
There was something Todd had said something
Yep.
which ain't a bad idea.
I
I
like
mean,
it. We're gonna need
that-
Jeff in here for
yeah,
this.
I mean,
Fix
that's
the flyers,
something that's
but
going to enhance it. And
yeah.
that's kind of what we're looking for. Just because it's our ideal within the committee, and trust me, five of us beating each other up on this thing, we had a lot of opinions with how things should be done. But it's always good to get outside people such as yourself that's looking on. Throw them ideals out to the committee.
You know what though,
Yeah.
Todd? Like we don't have to do that. If you guys want to use this data to create cool lists like that, where you have everyone's team listed on the list, like you guys can do that too. Like you don't need our permission if you want to make some cool
Absolutely.
list. If it gets weird, obviously we're gonna send you a message. But yeah, the less work we have to do, the better. So if you if you want to make these cool lists with our teams and stuff on it, like that'd be awesome.
Okay, well, wait, yeah, just I wanted to actually read his chat because people are going to play this back later, and I
Oh,
don't
sorry.
know how much access they'll have to it. He is suggesting that we put our club names next to those who are ranked, like what club they're with. And yeah, I think that would be great because I think you're going to see a whole lot.
Wait a minute. This one's for Vosgen. I think he's already on that ranking, right?
No, but
So
yeah,
there was another question popped up earlier. We had said it's not a UAL event that's going to be stemming just the ranking. It's everybody in California, North versus South included. But just keep in mind, if you guys are not ranked within that system, just keep in mind may have to travel to meet your guy to lower his ranking so you can climb. So it's every event in California, as long as we got the data that could validate what happened. Okay, it's not by the assumption. I can't hold you. Sorry.
yeah, well, and everybody like that does potentially get upset with something that is so data driven. It's a double-edged sword for me because I'm partly pleased by people that get a little bit upset thinking they could be ranked higher or whatever. Because for me personally, that means they care. And we're all athletes. We all care, and that's what we're here for. That's what the rankings is for, and that's what we're advocating for you guys is to have something to climb, and to prove yourself and everything like that. But yeah, like I do appreciate on one end that a lot of you guys really, really care. Your competitors, you want to win, you want to be at the top and everything like that. So this is square one here. It took a lot of work to use that true data to establish what we have here, and you never had a public criteria like this to go off of. You do now. Let's start using it. Let's start taking this data that was worked hard for to establish, and let's start moving forward. Let's use it together. Let's get some matches happening. Let's see some more arm wrestling happening in California. You've got the criteria there now to go off of. You know exactly what needs to be done to navigate, and you can know that we're not going to deviate from what data relates to that. So
Sorry, guys, my phone died.
no problem. So did you hear that about what Todd said though, about adding our club to your rank
Yeah,
next?
yeah, that sounds like a really cool idea. I feel really bad for the graphics guy though.
Yeah, that's what
I
we were saying. We
I
got to
told
wait.
him I told him that he's free to take that on himself. And
For
I had your back. I had your back.
Thanks, buddy.
you think like the team logo being that
Get out
small?
of here, Kane. Get out
Can
of
we
here.
make
Yeah.
it happen? Can we make it happen?
Yeah, the problem is
Ah.
I'm gonna have a bunch of my teammates on there and our logo is really big, you know.
I wonder if every team logo is a different color. Do we have?
Well, I mean, I created the North versus South flyer, I think North versus South 2 flyer. And I think almost every single California club, or the majority of them, are on that flyer. And they're all pretty different.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like they're all a different color
You remember
relative.
the brick wall design for North versus South
That's
2?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
that's the
just
one.
wondering if instead of, since the graphic would be so small, if we could just put a little bar with a certain color next to the, no, Matt, you don't like it?
Drop it, Kane. I'm the mama bear here. Okay, you gotta make sure you
Yeah,
guys.
I could put a club logo behind the number 1 guy on each side.
Maybe top 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let's look at this. Jeff is our graphics guy, and he's, the official UAL graphics helper guy as well. So, we'll just leave that in his lap, see what he wants to do with it. It doesn't have to be a logo. It could be a name. I think anything's recognizable, but right now I think the establishment of the list is our main priority.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll get creative with it in the future. Things will change as we go
Future,
along.
absolutely.
Yeah.
but how about those ranking flyers? That I was really impressed by those, Jeff. I
Hey,
mean,
thanks,
what
man.
what a cool new thing that we
Yeah,
have.
that's world class.
Yeah,
Hey, I appreciate
nobody's
it.
doing it. Nobody's doing it except for like what, the top 10.
Well, I
rank-
actually stole the
the world.
idea from a flyer that I had seen with like some of the
Don't say
best
any
guys in the
names.
world. I'm not. So some of the best guys in the world were on a flyer
You
similar
might
to
get
that.
blocked.
Yeah.
You're on that block list with me.
Yeah.
So
I
Kane,
appreciate your guys' confidence in me though.
yeah, so Kane, if you're my age, it's past my bedtime. So if you don't have any other questions for
Better
me, I'm gonna sign out.
better fire up
And
that CPAP, Bill. We better warm that thing up.
I'll tell you what, man. Hey, matter of fact, I think Friday I'll be 64. So
Hey,
when you
happy
hit
birthday.
60, a lot of shit changes in your body, and one of them means that you can't hardly stay up past 9 o'clock. So I, I'm gonna sign out, but I just want to say just real quick again, thank you people that joined in on this, and a huge thanks to the committee for taking on such a thankless job, because I know every one of us got beat up on this thing, and the other thanks again for Corey Miller and team, and especially Heather John. She's been a rock through this whole process, and made us look like rock stars. So with that in mind, Kane, catch you guys later. You and I'll be talking about a few things, and appreciate all you've done for us. All right.
A huge shout out also, Bill, to Rick Manis, who couldn't be here with us tonight.
Oh
Really,
shit, I
really
forgot
helpful.
about
Yes,
Rick.
thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, if you guys
Yeah.
didn't know, Rick is deaf. Okay, he can't be in a podcast. That's why he's not here. Okay,
Right.
Yeah,
He was
shit.
a very helpful throughout this whole process,
Oh,
and we
brilliant.
appreciate him
yeah, he's the
so
chair.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's been
Yeah,
amazing.
so thanks for reminding me. So, Rick, I know you can't hear this, but thanks very much for everything you do for UAL. He's the senior sports writer for UAL. He manages the UAL Facebook, and I tell you, if he ever told me to go jump in the lake, I'd be crying like a little baby. So, thank you guys. All right, I'm signing off. Catch you guys later.
Bill.
Good night, Bill.
So,
Yeah, guys, I think I'm ready to shut this down too, but I
yeah,
do want to mention that Paul Stevens made one little added note about what Todd was saying, that there later, of course, we could do just a top 4 teams in California, like its own card.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really
Just
interesting and
factor it
sounds
out.
fun. We
Yeah.
also wanted to do something too for the Masters and Grandmasters. Like these are all things that we've discussed in our committee moving forward, and I think something that we're going to talk about for 2026, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
on the list.
Yeah, I'm already seeing people doing it. What is it, the Savage arm benders are starting to, like, highlight all their teammates in
Yeah.
their rankings. It's cool. It's cool. I love seeing it.
Yeah.
It's a
Well, it
good
just
team.
tells us that people have respect for the UAL and the committee, and they know that we're doing the best that we can to represent them. The fact that they care enough to reach out to us and complain tells us that we're doing something right. So
For sure. Grace Bear in the house, as well as Travis Dinsmore saying happy early birthday to Bill. A happy early birthday, Bill. All right, you guys.
All right, guys.
Been a good time.
I'm old too.
Appreciate you as always.
absolutely. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah.
All right.